times, Gordon got super angry. Gordon Ramsay is a perfectionist when it comes to fine dining. He knows that your reputation depends on the quality of the food you deliver, as well as the timeliness of which the food is being prepared. So let's pardon him when he gets super angry at the cooks when needed. In today's video, we have put together some of the times when Gordon exploded in the live TV show. In Season 2, Episode 13 of MasterChef, Alejandro Schrader committed one of the capital sins in the culinary world, and the famous chef couldn't help it and snapped. The episode began with a new mystery box challenge, and the competitors were given 60 minutes to create a scallop dish. Adrian came out as the winner of the challenge. This meant that he would be joining the judges to decide what the menu for the day will be. Well, it turned out to be pork, and Adrian gave each cook their own cuts. When the time was up, Derek and Christine presented their dishes, and it was good. Until Susie came up, her dish was thrown away in the trash by Joe.
Go back.
At least she didn't get to see Ramsay's angry face. Jennifer followed the bad trend as her food was termed disgusting.
Ugh.
Alejandra finally stepped out with her dish, and Joe flipped it with his knife to find out that it was raw. Oh boy, everyone could see the pink part of the pork on camera. Alejandra was also shocked because she had trusted the thermometer and now it had misled her.
That is raw.
That excuse wasn't good enough for any of the judges, and Ramsay literally had a nervous breakdown. Alejandra's dish was called out among the 3 bottom dishes, and she was sent home. Alejandra's case is nothing compared to that of her next team challenge that had Gordon shouting at the cooks. Season 9, Episode 8 was the wedding ceremony of Sean O'Neill, the winner of MasterChef Season 7, and the cooks were tasked with cooking for all the guests. The contestants were divided into 2 teams, with Junie and Julia being the leader of each team. Junie failed miserably as a blue team leader, and Gordon seethingly went ballistic, lashing out at him. At that point, one would think that Ramsay would bust a vessel soon. The home cooks were supposed to prepare 51 appetizers and 51 entrees for guests in attendance. Sean had requested specially for scallops to be a part of their appetizers because it was the first thing Sean cooked for his wife when they were dating. Julia took charge of her team perfectly, while Junie was headed for doom right from the start. Ramsay had to cover to the blue team a couple of times, and he wasn't impressed. Gordon screamed at them and ordered that they should have a new captain.
You are not going to captain this team any longer.
Taylor stepped up to fill the position, but it was a bit too late to fix the situation. So although the blue team finished on a high note, the red team won the round. Junie was sent home because of his poor leadership skills. Can all the teams ever get it right the first time? Well, our next challenge is about another team, and Gordon has never been this angry. In Season 8, Episode 7, Gordon gets really pissed at the blue team, who seem to never get it together. The cooks were all in Beverly Hills, and their job was to prepare breakfast for the Belvedere restaurant at the 5-star Peninsula Hotel. Kate and Yachisha were the captains of the 2 teams. Yachisha does her best at assigning tasks, while Kate fails at maximizing the best from her teammates. When the orders started rolling in, Yachisha's team were doing great, while Kate and her team seemed to be falling apart. Gordon yells to remind her that she was just getting started. The height of it all was when Adam served the raw lobster, and Gordon told him that the omelets were looking worse than diapers.
Look at the omelette.
Oh my God.
I've seen a diaper look more appetizing in the center than that.
Kate tries to bring order back to the team. Ebony takes over from Kate and is confident that she can handle the heat. The blue team continued to struggle, and Gordon snaps on Jeff, telling him not to send him crap again because he makes Gordon look like a bigger dick than him. The Eggs Benedict pressure test was so disastrous that even the judges were left scratching their heads, thinking, who do we send home? All of them? So the only solution was to take a little field trip out of the MasterChef kitchen in Culver City, California, and straight into Gordon Ramsay's burger restaurant in Las Vegas. The 4 contestants, Luca, Kathy, Natasha, and Beth, were shipped off to Ramsay's burger joint to run the dinner service. And who's going to be the lifeguard? Gordon himself, playing the role of expediter, which is just a fancy way of saying he's the kitchen's orchestra conductor. Now for the team assignments. Beth and Natasha, who were basically frenemies after their cauliflower puree showdown during the firefighter steak challenge, are cooking together. And on the other side, we've got Luca paired up with Kathy. The teams have 1 hour of prep time, followed by 75 minutes of pure chaos to whip up their very own signature burger. Luca, in his infinite wisdom, decides on an all-beef burger with caramelized onions, a mysterious sauce, and, wait for it, no cheese. Meanwhile, Beth is going all out with her vision of a hangover burger. Natasha is understandably sweating bullets at the idea of throwing eggs into the mix. Now, not only do they have to get the patties just right, but they also have to make sure those eggs don't turn into rubber or run off the plate. Plus, using precious flat top space for eggs instead of burgers? That's a gamble. Luca's team hits a snag when the onions decide to take their sweet time caramelizing. Luca had to ditch his secret sauce and jump into onion duty with Kathy. Over on the other side, Beth and Natasha are struggling with their egg situation. Those sunny side up eggs were more like stormy side down, so they wisely toss them out of the window. Instead, they go for the next best thing, goat cheese and arugula. Gordon drops a surprise rule. As service begins, he declares that once one team's order is up in the window, the other team has exactly 60 seconds to get theirs up too, or it's getting sent out without them. This new rule turns their kitchen into a high-stakes game of beat the clock. It's anything but a cakewalk on Beth and Natasha's team. In fact, it's more like a walk through a minefield. One of their buns gets a little too cozy with a salamander, the broiler, and before they can say extra crispy, Gordon swoops in, stops everything, and lets out a scream that probably rattled the plates.
Hey, young lady, give me that bun. Hey, you two.
Yeah.
When you two start around like this, do you know what that tells me? You're out of control.
Sorry, chef.
You're way out of control.
Sorry, chef. Sorry, chef.
Come on, guys, please.
Meanwhile, over on Luca and Kathy's side, their burgers are making an unwanted appearance on the menu as rare and not in a good way. Gordon tells them to stop, rethink, and get a grip.
Medium, chef.
Luca.
Yes, chef.
Kathy.
Yes, chef.
Come here, both of you.
It's raw.
Touch. No, just touch it.
It's raw.
Look at it. It's still moving. It's that raw.
Just when the teams thought it couldn't get any worse, the VIPs for the evening stroll in. And surprise, it's the other contestants. Nothing like being judged by your peers to crank up the pressure. Luca, determined to avoid another Gordon meltdown, decides to rush the window with his orders, leaving Beth and Natasha scrambling like they're in a kitchen-themed episode of The Amazing Race.
Oh my God. Chef, these burgers, oh no, are completely raw. Raw.
When the results are revealed, it turns out Beth and Natasha somehow managed to win the popularity contest, grabbing the most votes. Maybe those goat cheese and arugula burgers were a hit after all. Our next challenge is about a contestant who wasn't too sure he wanted to be a master chef or maybe just preferred to be slow motion. In Season 8, Episode 3, the top 20 chefs dive into their first mystery box challenge of the season. And guess what's under the box? A brown grocery bag packed with 12 items. They've got 1 hour to turn these pantry staples into culinary masterpieces, all while raiding the MasterChef pantry for extra goodies. At the end of the challenge, Ramsay announces that 3 dishes stood out from the crowd. He calls Sam, Heather, and Mark to the front, only to drop the bombshell that they stood out for all the wrong reasons. Chef Aaron Sanchez tells them they're in the bottom 3 and need to take a trip to the wine room. The famous chef then calls up the next 3 dishes that really impress the judges: Yachisha, Jennifer, and O'Brien. Ramsay reveals that everyone in the kitchen is safe except for the unlucky souls in the wine cellar. Sam, Heather, and Mark are summoned back to the kitchen, where the suspense is thicker than a pot of overcooked spaghetti. Chef Ramsay wastes no time in letting them know their dishes are underwhelming, disappointing, and called them disgusting. Ramsay announces that all 3 are in the danger zone, facing elimination. He hands them 3 brown bags, not for a snack, but as a grim reminder to head back to their stations and brace themselves for the next twist in this kitchen drama. Sam, Heather, and Mark are handed identical ingredients and a replenished pantry box. Ramsay tells them this is their golden chance for redemption. They can either follow the judge's advice or go wild and whip up something brand new. They've only got 45 minutes, and this time, everyone's on the chopping block. Heather decides to shake things up a bit, making some changes to her dish. Sam, however, seems to be stuck in a culinary time loop, repeating the same mistakes as his first attempt. And Mark? He's moving so slowly. The cooks on the balcony are baffled, watching in horror as he stuffs raw bacon into raw eggs. Christina then tells the other 2 that it looks like Mark has mentally checked out, giving zero care about his dish or his fate. After Chef Ramsay gives Heather some much-needed advice, Mark turns to her with a grin and says, "Just do what I do. Ignore them."
You know what you could do, Heather? Just do what I do and ignore them.
Ramsay, not amused, asks Mark if he thinks this is a big joke and warns him to either get serious or hand over his apron. Everyone else is thinking Mark's ignore everything approach might not be the best game plan. With only 2 minutes left, Mark stumbles to the front with his dish, while Heather and Sam are sprinting to get theirs finished before the clock runs out. It's a last-minute scrambling worthy of a dramatic finale. Chef Ramsay approaches Sam's dish. Meatloaf with mashed potatoes and carrots, which looks more like a chaotic dinner party than a gourmet meal. Ramsay admits it tastes better than the first round, which is like saying your new haircut is better than the last one, but still a work in progress. Chef Aaron digs into Heather's dish, chimichurri chicken kebab with vinaigrette and fries. He marvels at how the chicken is so much moister now. Chef Ramsay approaches Mark, looking at his dish of chocolate chip pancakes with baked eggs, bacon, and cilantro. Ramsay asks Mark if he really thinks this is an improvement over his previous disaster.
Yes.
He tells Mark's creation is tough to look at. Mark, proudly proclaiming his dish as the best breakfast ever cooked, feels he's hit a home run. Chef Ramsay takes a bite and says it tastes nice, but he wonders if Mark truly made the most of those 90 minutes. Ramsay's not convinced. The judges huddle up, debating whether to send one or all the chefs packing. Mark is told that his second attempt at an American breakfast didn't quite hit the mark. The judges feel he didn't use his time wisely, and frankly, they don't see the hunger for victory. Chef Ramsay, in true dramatic fashion, announces that he personally doesn't think Mark's cut out to be the next master chef.
Don't think you are quite ready to become America's next master chef.
He asks Mark to return his apron, essentially telling him to pack up and head home.